Hey, this is Sam Furman, and this is the full video blog for Mark Overson's Solomon CEO $10 million plus code number 3, Swarming Splendor. Now, this course that we've been talking about, Solomon CEO, if you just jumped in, if you're not familiar with it, you can go back and watch the intro and the other videos, and I'm going to be reading here for some notes I've taken. But it's a course designed primarily for budding entrepreneurs or people who have some kind of business or who are in the workforce as a leader and who want to become more prosperous. And what does that mean for people? It's a little bit different for everybody. But we're going to go really deep with this here in the next 10-15 minutes, and we'll talk about some of the things that Mark has put into his course. And this helped him go to becoming an eight-figure earner. So really cool stuff. And if I could speak, it references King Solomon, who in the book of Proverbs. So when he wrote this course, he realized, and the reason for the name change, to Swarming Splendor from which the original one of Miracle Multiplying, was because he realized that as a leader or as a king or queen, that it was truly important for you to start getting comfortable with personally attracting splendor and understanding that splendor, and that's what I'm learning, comes from the multiplying swarm that the Solomon $10 million course teaches you to create. And let's see here. Let's give you a quote. This is from the book of Proverbs. And despite if you're religious or not, there's a lot of wisdom in this book. So, he references it, and here's some good stuff. So let me quote you the first verse that's in the course here of Code 3. A multiplying population is the splendor of a king, but starving people is the downfall of a prince. This is a paraphrasing of Proverbs 14:28. And by multiplying, consider that as swarming. Think of that as swarming. But starving, think of that as needy. So a swarming population is the splendor of a king, but starving people is the downfall of a prince. So if we go into that, and what's cool about the course is Mark goes through 3 steps, which we'll talk about. 1, there's an excavation of the original meaning. 2, there's an imagination guide of how we could take the teachings and start future casting and imagining how our life would be different if we were to implement the wisdom in the teachings of the Book of Solomon. And 3rd, there is the actual integration guide. So to kind of compound on that, the book of to do some extraction, the book of Proverbs was meant as a leadership guide for the youth of Israel. So he talked about a multiplying population is the splendor of a king, but starving people is the downfall of a prince. Here's the second quote. When the Queen of Sheba perceived all the wisdom of Solomon, and the Queen of Sheba was, she was a leader from a different country. So when the Queen of Sheba perceived all the wisdom of Solomon, the house he had built, the food of his table, the nurture of his servants, the attendance of his waiters in their attire, his cupbearers, and the stairway by which he went up to the house of the Lord, it took her breath away. And that's from 1 Kings chapter 10, verses 4 and 5. No, so think about this for a second. There's a leader from another country coming over to visit Solomon, and she's literally has her breath taken away by what she sees. That people that work with King Solomon, who serve him, that she's so impressed by everything that she observes that she's literally speechless. And this is from someone who's in a similar, I say, structure or rank, of being a leader of a nation. So, what is it about King Solomon? How and why, were things the way they were? And we'll talk about that here a little bit. And it all ties into what we're talking about, the swarming splendor, and being comfortable with that. And this is kind of a nugget that I learned from Mark, is that all transformation for yourself, it has to start with the emotional warming up to the result that you want. So, if it's driving a car that edifies you or a house that smells good, all these ideas, you just have to start emotionally warming yourself up to them before they can actually have that transformation where you can actually start seeing, changing the way you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, stuff like that. All right. And so let's step into the part two of this, the imagination guide, and go a little bit further. You know, as an entrepreneur, as someone who desires to be wealthy, as you already are wealthy, that's a quantum physics thing, quantum mechanics thing. As you if you have a quest, if that's your intention to be a millionaire, or to be very successful in business, it should you should set the intention now to be like King Solomon, in the sense of having, when the Queen of Sheba came over, she was actually seeking Solomon out because she had heard such good things about him, that he was highly sought after. So in the sense of King Solomon being sought after, in whatever industry you are in, you wanna take on that same. You want to have that same attraction. You want to be able to attract industry leaders, people of influence. You want to be able to draw them in. Because you want them to be so impressed by your work ethic and by what you do. You want to be able to just have those people, those industry hopefuls and legends of what you're doing, whatever niche you're in. You want to be on their radar. You want them to notice you and to know your story, because once they do, they're going to take it and run with it. It's a really cool thing that I've been learning. The second thing, as we step into this imagination guide, is you want to start to imagine your buyers and your clients being deeply, deeply satisfied. And when we mean deeply satisfied, we mean not just one-time, buyers, but we want people who are going to consistently continue to buy, to be lifelong friends and clients who will be virally engaged with whatever it is that your business is. That they'll be more than just fans. They'll act as evangelists and advocates and defenders of what you're doing, because they believe so strongly in your vision, and that you as a leader of what you're being be able to nurture and provide for these people. And third, you want them to be proud to live in your business kingdom, so to speak. And just like with King Solomon, you can take these and extract that meaning out, or kind of take the wisdom from there and put this into your business kingdom, to think like that these are the kind of people that you want. These are the things you should desire to create. The third thing, I want you to start imagining that money is rolling into your bank account over and over, and that you have a population that sticks. It's, if you think about Vegas, where people usually they go there once a year, they pop in for a couple days, then they're gone. As you're building your business city, you don't necessarily want a city like Vegas. You want people who are going to come and stay long term, and they can stay there because the infrastructure is good, the economy is good, everything about the city is good, and that they desire to stay. They're not just there for a one night stand, that they're going to stick around. You should start to desire those kinds of people, because a lot of entrepreneurs have the short-term thinking of how can I make money now and today, but they don't think about cultivating relationships with their buyers and their clients and their customers, where you could have a 30 to 40 year buyer, or a generational or multi-generational buyers. And if you think about what's better in the long term for you, for your prosperity, and for what you're able to do, in a bigger vision, that's what you want. And this is something that was really a big takeaway for me from this course. Okay, moving along. So we talked about, what does a king or queen do for their kingdom? What, as a leader, what should you be doing for your team if you're in the direct marketing, online marketing space, or maybe even having any kind of team people that you work with? And it is, you should be nurturing these people. You should be feeding them, cleaning them, educating them, celebrating them, entertaining them. That's what the kings and queens do. That's what King Solomon did. And you think about like a dog. Why do dogs run away, right? Or versus a dog that stays in a house. And not to compare your clients to dogs, but it's a relevant example if you'll stick with me here for a second. Well, dogs are fed, happy, played with, maybe not educated, but all these different things, they're celebrated, they're entertained, they have something to play with, they're fed, they're nurtured, they're loved. Those dogs don't run away, they stick around, but when that's not there, they're going to leave. So it's one way to think about it. Or going back to the city example, if you think about a city with bad traffic, with no, uh, or where finding a job or finding a source of income is tough, crime is high, all right, the infrastructure is just not there or the traffic's bad and the infrastructure is just not adequate to sustain that city. Like those are not the places that you want to stay or people are going to stay. They're going to want to stay in the city where they can be nurtured, they can feel clean, safe, they're educated, they can be entertained. And that's, if you transpose that into your business, that's what you want for your buyers and for your clients, because these people are the lifeblood of your business, and you have to take care of them just like a king or queen would with their people, and just like King Solomon did. Okay, moving along into the integration guide. And Mark, he gives this really big warning about this, and this is crucial, so I'll share it with you too, is that you have a potential, and this is a big breakthrough for me, that everyone has a potential for stuff, but we have a limited storehouse of focus, right? There's a lot of shiny objects out there. There's a lot of things that maybe we like to do or that we're passionate about, but we have a limited storehouse of focus. So it's important to find your niche and then put the majority of focus into that. And then it's kind of ironic, but you'll be able to buy back the time for your other interests and passions if you just really focus in on that one thing. And I thought that was a pretty cool thing, because I know I'm definitely guilty of that. And it's like, well, I love music. I'm not a professional, but as I focus in on my business and just getting really good at that one thing, then I'm going to be able to buy back my time. And that was a really big takeaway for me. The second thing, so one of the questions you should ask first, as you really sit down and write these questions out, answer, and go back and view this a couple times if you need to. But think exactly about whatever niche you're in or you're thinking about getting in. Who exactly are the living legends in that niche? And say you're in real estate. Think of Robert Kiyosaki. There's a couple other big names out there. If they saw you work for 2 days, what would be their reaction? Would they be floored and just impressed, or would they not be that impressed with you? And that was another big revelation for me. So ask yourself that. Second, if money, connections, resources were roaring into your business, not to say that they're not, but if they aren't, and they started to, how would you improve the infrastructure or the style, the glory of the client's experience? Would you give them better gifts? Would you praise them more? How would you make it better for the clients to give them a more glorious and unique experience? So think about that, write that down. And the third thing, and this is something that Mark brought up I thought was interesting, and it's kind of fun to track, but it also is a gauge, is what is your daily revenue right now? Do you have a business already? And if you don't, that's okay. Or if its number is 0 or maybe it's negative, it should be a telltale. It doesn't have to stay that way. But your revenue reveals your impact on people. And at first that may seem kind of like contradictory, but if you think about it, your products and services are providing a portal or a means to a bigger, better, whatever it is, self or client, whatever it is that feeling is that your product's going to deliver. So that is, to the extent of your daily revenue, is an extent of the impact that you're having. So kind of interesting metrics to measure, and what is measured grows. So if you haven't been measuring that, it's time to start. It's time to start tracking that. Amateurs don't track, and professionals do, and that goes for all your marketing in whatever niche you're in. So good takeaway there. See, and so here's the next thing. It's kind of interesting. This is a non-monetary stat, but something that can help you measure the health of your business, and that's, what kind of engagement or testimonials are you getting on a daily basis for your business? Maybe it's a Facebook post or an email or something, a gift, something like that. Are you getting that kind of engagement from your clients or your customers? And if you haven't started yet, that's okay. But something to keep in mind is, that is a really easy and quick gauge of just what kind of impact and what kind of health of your business are you at right now. Okay, let me check my notes here. And the next thing, so The Queen of Sheba was amazed by all of Solomon's servants. So a question to ask for yourself is, who, and not to say that your clients and business customers are your servants, but the people that hang around you, that your entourage, so to speak. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, because there's cronies, which are people who are just, they stick around you, but they're, in the sense of an entourage, people who are around you, who are on their way to a better place or to a higher place, right? What is the what is the so I lost my note. What do they look? I'm sorry. So what is the idyllic entourage? What do they look like? What do they wear? What's their attitude? How do they respond to criticism? Start asking yourself these questions and start making an intention and having a desire to design the perfect to see what that looks like. Are there people from different backgrounds? Are they young people? Are they old people? What are they wearing? What are their philosophies about life? Start thinking about those kinds of people and what you desire or would want those people. What kind of attitudes and postures would you want them to have? And the next thing, it's important to have a scalable infrastructure. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this here because I think that's something that we'll go into later. But if you're as you build a business, it's important to always ask yourself, is this scalable? What's the next step? Because you're always going to be wanting to move it up. So if you're doing everything by yourself and that's not scalable, and so a book that I recommend that you start to read is 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. That'll kind of help you with that scalability. But we'll kind of skip on to the next thing. And these are a quick set of questions to ask yourself that should always kind of be swirling through your head. They're going to help you with the growth of your business. And this video is kind of running a little long, so we'll try to kind of speed it up here. Hold on just a second. Okay, so first off, one of the questions that should always be swirling around your head is, what is your ideal buyer? Who is your ideal person? What do they look like? What are their thoughts? What are their beliefs? Just like we talked about with the entourage, kind of the same thing there. And I lost my slot. So yeah, what do these people look like, and why should they care? And the other question is, what should the buyer do before they buy from you? What should they feel, do, watch? Why should the buyer purchase right now? That's another great question that should always be going through your head. Why should the buyer fear if they don't purchase right now? And you have to tell them that. After they purchase, what's the buyer's first step to be? You need to have that thinking in your mind. After the purchase, what should the buyer's first measurable result be? So these are all great questions that you should be asking. And a big thing is, and I've seen this happen a lot, and I've been through it too, and maybe you have too, but it's something that will help save a lot of time for your customers and clients, is think about the common stumbling blocks that they're going to experience as they move into, after they buy or purchase your product on the way to the result that they want or that your product or association is going to provide. What kind of common stumbling blocks are out there? And how can you inoculate those clients before they get there? What can you do to warn them or to educate them on how to feel, act, do, speak, or be, so they don't get frustrated or depressed or give up? And that's super, super important for collapsing time. is be able to inoculate them from those dangers or those stumbling blocks. I know for a lot of people, if they're in the online space, a big stumbling block is tech stuff. And although it's gotten a lot easier over the past couple of years, there's definitely still very intimidating for a lot of people. So it's important that you give them a heads up and that you give them a way around that stumbling block. You build them a bridge so they can continue on. Okay. Oh, there's so many more notes here that we just this video would literally be a couple hours if we went into everything. But I wanted to give you the most value and be respectful of your time. So let's just skip to the last couple things here. And let me rephrase the quote again so you can just think about it. But so the multiplying population is the splendor of a king, but starving or needy people is the downfall of a prince. And that's the paraphrase. So when you think about starving people, or what people are starving for in your business, what is that? Start to ask yourself that question. Where's the pain? Where's the suffering? Where's the fulfillment? Where are things too slow? And then how can you change these things? How can you speed it up? A good king or queen is going to feed the people with, bread, ideas, goods, and services that make their people strong. So it's your job as a leader in your business to provide for them so they're not starving, but and, in, and instead so they can start to swarm and multiply. That's what you want. So, sometimes when you think about it, maybe your product itself is not the means itself, but it's more about what it provides, that relationship. This is interesting. Like a lot of people, and Mark talks about this, is why do people buy Porsches? And yeah, they're a car of quality, but a lot of times it's for just the social network that it provides. So never dismiss that hey, people have bought the product, that's what they wanted, now they're happy. A lot of times your product is just a means to something else, which is a bigger, better social connection. So don't forget that. It's important. And how, think always in your heart, how is it that you can be of service to your people? What is it going to do? How can you help them to get that result? And when you pour your heart and your soul into your business, and this is something else I've been learning to do, people will notice. Like people can tell when you're being sincere or not. So that was huge. So, and the last thing, just ask yourself this: with a large, swarming, educated, strong population inside your business kingdom, what kind of tangible social good can you do? Is it maybe building a school in an impoverished area? Is it giving money for some worthy cause? If your business is if you're only thinking about making money for yourself, you're not going to get very far. But it's your business and being prosperous. The other side of that is so that it allows you to give back and to do something for the common, better, greater good. So that should always be, in the back of your mind swirling around there is like, what is the greater social good that as you build a swarming population that y'all can achieve together? And the key word there is that you all, or from Texas, y'all, right? Because no one does it alone. So, without a bigger end game in mind, you're going to get caught up with the minutia, and you're going to, let's see. But sometimes your business can be an end in itself, but it's also a means to an end. So don't, without that grander vision of what it is that as you build this network, as you build your kingdom, what that will allow you to do, if you don't have that in mind, then you're going to get bogged down. And the last thing to ask yourself is, will the world be a better place if you've mastered the miracle of multiplying, or of swarming splendor, if you become a success, a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever it is that you intend or desire? And if your heart's desires and intentions were unleashed upon the earth, what would that be? Would the world be a better place? And if it is, then don't delay, take action right away, and just keep going. And that's lesson 3. I'm going to wrap this video up. Some pretty deep stuff here. And, if you want to connect with me personally, send me an email. My email is at sam@samfurman.com. It's SAMFURMAN.com. Or find me on Facebook. It should be easy to find. Or check out our Facebook group where you can learn how, if you're just starting out, or if you're looking for a change, how you can make your first $20 online. You can fill out your email address there if you're on my blog, or you can click the link if you're on YouTube or somewhere else, and follow the directions there and connect with me, find out what we're up to, and how my association with Mark Hoverson and the things that I'm learning with his group and as we build our enterprise has really changing my life and revolutionizing a lot of other people's lives. With and if you desire that kind of like-minded networking, or if that resonates in your heart, if you have that vibe that you're looking for something with deeper meaning, and that you want to build a successful business, connect with me, and we'll just chat and talk about it. Hey, have a great night or day, wherever you're at, and we'll see you on the next video, where I'll be giving a full teaching about Code 4. We'll talk to you then, or check out my other videos here. See ya.